Have you ever had one of those nights? The kind where sleep just won't come, no matter how hard you try. You toss, you turn, the world outside is silent, but your mind is racing. It's frustrating, right? But what if I told you that sometimes a sleepless night isn't just a random annoyance? What if it's a divine appointment? Let's travel back in time, to the heart of the mighty Persian Empire, to the grand palace in Shushan. Imagine the scene. Everything is still. The guards are at their posts. The city is asleep. The moon casts long shadows across the opulent courtyards. There's no war on the horizon, no storm brewing, not even a whisper of sound to disturb the peace. Yet, in the royal chambers, the most powerful man in the world, King Ahasuerus, is wide awake. He can't sleep. It's not a stomachache or a guilty conscience. It's something deeper, a strange restlessness stirring in his spirit. It's like a persistent whisper he can't quite make out, a feeling that something is left undone. An invisible hand is keeping sleep from his eyes. Have you ever felt that? That unexplainable prompting that you just can't ignore? Unable to find rest, the king does something unusual for the middle of the night. He calls for his servants, not for a warm drink or a song, but for the royal records. Imagine the scribes, bleary-eyed, fumbling to bring in the massive, heavy scrolls, the book of the chronicles of the kingdom. This wasn't light reading. This was the official day-by-day account of everything that happened in the empire. The servants begin to read aloud, their voices droning on in the quiet of the night. They read about tax decrees, diplomatic visits, and minor court appointments. The king listens, still restless, waiting for he doesn't even know what. Then they come to a particular entry, an entry about a plot, a conspiracy to assassinate the king. Two of his own chamberlains, his trusted guards, had planned to lay hands on him, but the plot was foiled. How? The record stated that a man named Mordecai, a humble Jewish gatekeeper, had uncovered the conspiracy and reported it. The king's life was saved because of this man. The king stops the reading. Mordecai, he says, the name echoing in the quiet room. What honor and distinction has been bestowed on Mordecai for this? The servants look at each other. There's an awkward silence. Nothing has been done for him, they reply. Nothing. The man who saved the king's life was never rewarded. He was forgotten, a footnote in a dusty old book. But on this specific night, this sleepless night, he was remembered. Now, let's zoom out for a moment, because this isn't just a story about a forgotten hero getting his due. There's a much larger drama unfolding. You see, at this very moment, the king's highest official, the wicked and arrogant Haman, has a sinister plan in motion. He despises Mordecai with a burning passion, and not just Mordecai, but all of his people, the Jews. Haman has already tricked the king into signing a decree to annihilate every single one of them. In fact, as the king lies awake, Haman is so consumed with his hatred that he has already built a gallows, 75 feet high, specifically to hang Mordecai the very next morning. He's on his way to the palace, even at this early hour, to get the king's permission. Haman is confident. He believes he controls everything. He's about to have his final victory. Or so he thinks. But heaven has other plans. God is moving behind the scenes, using the most unlikely of instruments, a king's insomnia. That stirring in the king's spirit wasn't just random restlessness. It was a whisper from heaven, a divine nudge. God was setting the stage for a dramatic reversal. Just as the king learns of his debt to Mordecai, guess who shows up in the outer court? Haman. He's come to ask for Mordecai's death, but before he can even open his mouth, the king calls him in and asks a question. What should be done for the man the king delights to honor? Haman's ego inflates. He instantly thinks, who would the king want to honor more than me? So he lays it on thick. Let them bring a royal robe the king has worn, he says, and a horse the king has ridden, one with a royal crest on its head. Let the robe and horse be given to one of the king's most noble princes, and let him robe the man the king delights to honor, and lead him on horseback through the city streets, proclaiming before him, 'This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor.'" Haman can already feel the robe on his shoulders, hear the cheers of the crowd. He's picturing his own glorious parade. But then the king speaks, and Haman's world comes crashing down. "Hurry!" the king commands. "Take the robe and the horse, just as you have said, and do all this for Mordecai the Jew, who sits at the king's gate. Do not leave out a single detail of all that you have suggested." The irony is staggering. The very man Haman came to destroy, he is now forced to honor in the most public and glorious way imaginable. He has to lead his sworn enemy through the streets, shouting his praises for all to hear. The gallows Haman built for Mordecai would soon have a different occupant, Haman himself. Before the sun had fully risen, destinies had been completely reversed. The proud were brought low, and the faithful were raised high. An entire nation was saved from destruction, and it all started with one sleepless night. It wasn't an accident, it wasn't a coincidence, it was a night that heaven orchestrated. It shows us that God is always at work, even when we can't see it. He works in the quiet moments, in the restless nights, in the seemingly random details of our lives. He can turn a king's insomnia into the salvation of a nation. So the next time you find yourself awake in the middle of the night, when the world is quiet and your mind is stirring, don't just see it as a nuisance. Pause for a moment. Listen. Perhaps it's not just a random sleepless night. Perhaps heaven is trying to get your attention. Perhaps God is writing a chapter in your story, preparing to shift destinies, to right a wrong, or to set in motion a miracle you can't yet see. That sleepless night might just be an appointment you were meant to keep. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this time with me. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content that explores the incredible ways faith intersects with our daily lives. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay blessed.